Alright, so I'm going to walk you through how to set up the contours for your site model when it comes time to actually making your physical model. So I oversimplified the site just for this example. This file you can find in the in Blackboard. So just say as an example, this is your site. It's an actual solid object. Again, just make sure that it's a closed polysurface. If you need to use the command where you duplicate border, project a C-plane, loft off the edges, join them all together so you get a closed polysurface. And say as an example, like this is your wall or your reading area. Essentially what you want to do is you want to use the Boolean command to, or Boolean extract, Boolean difference, to have the negative of the actual wall where this is going to be placed. Essentially what you're going to want is when you build this up out of the layers of cardboard, you want to have that negative space in there, so when you build your wall, it just sits in there. So after running the contour command, right, you give it some distance, it slices up all the pieces for you. Essentially what you need to do at this point is figure out what your scale is and to figure out your thickness of your cardboard, and to figure out the spacing that you need dependent on your scale. So this is again an example of the contours that it's given us. Not all the pieces are joined, so I'm going to select them all, join them, and I can see that some of them are still not closed surface or closed curves, which for this example we're going to need. And you'll see why in a second. So you're going to want to make all of these closed curves. So I copied this one just so I can edit the copied version. One way to very quickly see which ones are closed, which ones are not, if you type in select open curves, it will select all your curves in here that are open. So the ones that are closed you don't have to worry about, but the ones that are open I need to fix. So let's start off by fixing this version. So I just need to connect these curves. One way to do this was with the command that I was showing everybody the other day with the adjustable curve blend. I can select that curve and that curve. I'm going to put tangency on both, just so that it's a smooth connection between the two, and I'm going to join those curves and hit OK. Run that command again. Again, tangency on both, join them, hit OK. And if I select that curve, now I can see that it's a closed curve. I know that I also had an issue with this one. So again, I can use that same command, adjustable curve blend. This time it's a slightly different situation where I want the curve that's coming out of here to be tangent to the other curve. But with this curve, it should end right at that point. So I don't really want it tangent. So on number 2, I want it to be at the position. So I can click the position for number 2, make sure it's joined, hit OK. Now that one's fixed. Different kind of situation or scenario you might run into is if it completely leaves out one of your edges. So again, you just start off with like a temporary line, move it vertically so that it's at that height. If I were to use that curve blend right now, you can see that it might give me, or I might be able to do that one with the position. That one should work. But if I try the position with this one, you see it'll just essentially just connecting the dots. I can try some combination, but it's not going to work exactly the way I want. So in this one, what I'm going to have to do is just use just the fillet. Fillet radius of 0. Select that one. It connects the two, and now that's a closed curve. So if I were to type in the command select open curves, I still have them open over here, but that's okay. This is the one that I'm worried about. So now they're all closed, which is perfect. It's exactly what I need. I have the contours that are cut out for my wall is going to be placed in. And at this point, since they're all closed, again, I can select and just double check. 19 closed curves. Perfect. That's exactly what I need. At this point, what I can do is I'm going to make all of these into a surface. So click on Surface from Planar Curves. Move these out of the way. And now what I have is the actual surface of all of these. So now what I need to do is unroll these. The only issue with unroll is you can only use the unroll one surface at a time. So for example, if I wanted to unroll all these, I would have to unroll this, move this out of the way, because I know the second surface I'm about to unroll is going to show up in the exact same position. Right? And then I'd have to continue to do this over and over and over and over again for all the separate pieces. And then what I would have to do is obviously I need a duplicate border to get all the edges. And then I need to somehow keep track of all the pieces. I would need to label them all so when I cut them, I know the exact order that all these pieces should be in, which within itself is fairly time consuming. Or what I can do is I can use a script. So this script should be found in Blackboard under the Rhino files. I'm going to go to load. It's called separate unrolling. So I'm going to load that one. If I read my command line, it says select a surface, or I can just select all of them. Hit enter. And what it does is it unrolls all of your pieces. And while it unrolls them, it labels the actual site. And it duplicates the edges for you. And it also labels your individual pieces. So now, let me check something. Okay, I'm going to take one step back. One thing you're going to pay attention to, because this will mess things up. I just undid that really quick. I'm going to select these. I'm going to click on Analyze Direction. And what I'm looking for is that all my white arrows are all going in the same direction. Because if not, if they're going in opposite directions, when it unrolls, it'll give me some issues. Not going to get into why, but just trust me. So I'm going to zoom in. I can see that some of these are going the opposite way. All you have to do is just click on the surface, and it should flip the arrows. So a majority of my arrows are pointing up, so I'm going to make sure that all my arrows are pointing up. And again, it's just as simple as clicking on the surface to change the direction. So once all my white arrows are all pointing the exact same direction, just hit enter. And now run the unroll script again, load, Rhino. Let it do its thing. So essentially all I have to do at this point, I can get rid of the points. If I wanted to, I just need to go into my layers, make a new layer, call it cut. Put this in the cut layer. Make another one, score. And put the numbers on the score layer just so that those get scored in there. And then essentially I just need to organize all these just so that I can laser cut all of them. The one thing I just want to be careful about is, say for example, the top pieces. When I put my model together, I don't want to see any of the actual scored numbers. Right? That's it's kind of like a rookie mistake, like when you leave the barcodes on your basswood models. So like with the top pieces, like for example A1, I don't even want that one to be scored. With, see in my example, A8, I just want to make sure that that score is in a location where A11 is going to cover it. A11, I'm either not going to score it, or I'm going to make sure that that label for A11 is right below A1. So again, you do not want to see, once you have all these pieces, you do not want to see the scored number on there. So again, just hide them as best as you can, or just the ones that are a little bit difficult to hide. Just do not even bother printing that or laser cutting that. Just laser cut this part. And the last thing you're going to want to do with this model is with your wall, or the part that's going into the ground, you want to build up a little bit of tolerance. So to say, as an example, you have your wall, and it's the exact same thickness. The plaster model is the exact same thickness as the cardboard that's being cut out. To get the model into the site, to get your plaster model into your cardboard site model, it's going to be really difficult. So you want to build up a little bit of tolerance. The easiest way of doing this, or one way of doing this, and it's not the easiest, just one way, is, say for example, this is the wall where the wall's going to slide in. I can do offset. I can do cap, flat. I can offset it some distance, right? You know, 32nd of an inch or 16th of an inch, depending what scale that you're working in. You don't want too much of a tolerance, or else when you put your model in there, it's just going to wiggle around in there. You put in some distance. So again, that's my offset. And if you put in, when you offset this, if you put in cap equals flat, and if it's closed, it'll offset it with and it'll keep the entire thing closed for you. Or in this case, so these will be the easier ones. You're gonna have to build this a little bit of tolerance in here. Let me delete this point. So in this case, for example, I'm going to have to explode this. I'm gonna have to offset this. What I don't want is, I don't want to keep the cap flat to be turned on, because then it ends up with, it caps it over here. So in this case, I want cap to be none. So when I offset it, it's just by itself. It's not connected, so I can delete the original one, and then at this point I just trim. And then I don't know if I need to fix anything on this side. It seems okay. Just in case, I'm going to do fillet curves with the radius of 0. Make sure that works. And then all I need to do is select all these pieces again, join them, and just want to make sure I actually have it as closed curves. It still says that it's an open curve. For some reason, there it is, there's the problem. Now it's a closed curve. So again, just build up a little bit of tolerance into your model. Use the unroll script to get all your pieces, and then just lay them all out just to laser cut them. And that you should be ready to have your site model.